Mike, thanks a lot for coming on tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
We go way back, not so far back to football days because he's way older than me. I'm just saying. But the bottom line is we're here with somebody that has a lot of history in football. He's got a rare story, and we're going to actually get right into it. I want you guys to hear this. So how much football did you play prior to college?
0.
I told you it was going to be the rare story.
0. My first football game, I was 18 years old, freshman in college. Didn't play in high school because I thought I was too small. Let that intimidate me. So I just let those years pass me by. When I graduated, I decided that it was time for me to try to get in school. So I used football as that tool to get an education. So that's how I ended up starting to play football.
Well, tell that one story. Guys, I know all these stories. We've gone on trips together, and he makes me sit there and listen to them. I love them, actually. I love these stories. Anytime you guys get around a guy that has had so much history like him, you want to sit there and absorb. So right now, sit there and absorb. And you guys out in Facebook land, you're going to be on for this whole thing. So tell me this. You went out to college. It was a junior college?
Junior college. Eastern Arizona Junior College.
Eastern Arizona
Junior College. I've never even heard of it before I got there.
Just back to back, and he's gone.
Back to back, and I'm out.
And then what happened? You went to the coach and said, what?
Well, actually, what happened was the head coach at the junior college was friends with my coach in high school. So they got to talking, and he told him that I didn't play in high school.
Okay.
He said, but he was willing to take me anyway. He was willing to give me a try. If I didn't make it, I was on my own, but he was willing to give me a try.
Right.
So flew out there, one-way ticket. So all the money I had, one-way ticket. We got there. It was 3 weeks before school started. We had camp, regular camp. They do all the testing. So after I did all my testing, I did the strength test, I did the height, weight, the whole thing. And we got to the running test. So they were testing 40s. So I got in line. Everybody ran their 40. Coach gave them their time. When I ran my 40, the coach looked at it, but he didn't give me a time. So he told me I had to do it again. So immediately I thought something was wrong. So I got back in line. Everybody went through the line, ran their 40s. They got their times. I ran a 40 again. He still didn't give me a time. Now, we were only supposed to run 240, so I had to run 240. So at that time, he called all the rest of the coaches over to come and time me in the 40. So here I am by myself.
Something's wrong.
Something's going on. Here I am by myself, running the 40 for the third time, the only one. So I ran a 40 for the third time. All the coaches there, they compared watches. And I'm sitting there like, okay, what did I do wrong? So I asked the coach, I said, well, what did I do wrong? You won't give me my time. He said, well, we were making sure that we got it right. He said, you ran the fastest 40 we ever recorded at the school. And I was like, okay, so what was it? He said 427. So, and I'm thinking, well, okay, 427, what does that mean? Because I had no idea. So I ran 427, 427, 429. Wow. And immediately, coach was like, we can make this guy a football player on our team. So he immediately offered me a partial scholarship, and I had financial aid, enrolled me in school, and that's how I started my football career.
Think about that. You guys have heard speed kills, right? And then he's at a school, never played a lick of football before that. All of a sudden comes out and runs the fastest 40 that school has ever had. And that coach knows speed kills. He didn't know just yet.
I had no idea.
All of a sudden, then he starts outrunning everybody and starts to realize, hey, speed kills. But, guys, the bottom line is when you get a guy like this around, you want to start asking some football questions. So, jumping in, okay, so you were at a JUCO, and then what happened? How do you transfer to?
So I played my first season as a defensive back, right? And our team wasn't very good. Obviously, when they're taking players that hadn't played before, we wasn't very good. So coach decided with my speed, he was going to try to put me on offense and put the ball in my hands. So I moved over to receiver my second year in school, and still couldn't get the ball in my hands. So I think the last 4 games I played running back. So they just started handing the ball off.
How much did you weigh?
I was about 175 pounds.
Right? If you're fast enough, you don't get hit.
Basically. So the last 5 games, I rushed for 600 and some change yards and 8 touchdowns and something like that, which got the attention of Northern Arizona. A whole bunch of other schools. So this was my first year being recruited. So I got recruited after my second year in college. So I went to visit different schools and settled on Northern Arizona University.
Wow.
And once I got there, being 170 pounds, once I moved up in class, couldn't block linebackers, guys are hitting too hard. So I moved back out to receiver. And my career just blossomed from there.
All right, so I got to ask this question because I know a little bit about Arizona. And I think everybody thinks they know something about Arizona out there. And Cedric, if you're watching, got an old teammate here. So, Arizona guys, you think it's pretty hot? Watch this. So you're in Arizona. You're playing at Northern Arizona.
Northern Arizona.
Did you play in the dome?
We played the dome.
Why?
Because it snowed all the time.
Did you hear that?
7,000 feet. So
what?
We got snowed in. So you think hot Arizona desert? No, we were up in the mountains.
That's
so
crazy.
We had to play in the dome where you probably couldn't play a lot of the games during the season.
Guys, so that's nuts. Now, I had an advantage. I played out in Arizona as well. I knew that up north in northern Arizona, it was cold. So all right. So obviously, if I remember right from the storytelling, you had a lot of yards in college.
Yes, actually my college I was a kickoff return and punt return guy. So I led the nation in kickoff returns. So I was good enough to be able to run things back. I did really well in punt returns, which it caught the eye of the NFL guys, which they started coming around because I was really good at returning the ball. So I basically got drafted to be a returner.
Gotcha. I got one more question. So I'm at Georgia. I'm at a spring game at UGA, guys, and I run into Coach. Starts with an H. Hagen. Coach Hagen.
Right for Hagen.
I'm sitting there and I'm just talking. He's wearing a wing T-shirt. I ran the wing T offense in high school, and I'm thinking, this would be a good conversation. He's at UGA. He's wearing a wing T-shirt, and his shirt said something best in the nation, which I know my high school, W High School, is the number one in the nation at wing T. So I challenged him a little bit. Next thing you know, we find out we both know this guy, and he told me a great story. It was about the time that the NFL guys came to time him in the 40. What happened?
Actually, the NFL guys used to come to my track meets. I started running track my junior year in college.
Makes sense.
So, the track meet, right? I was 100 meter, 200 meter man, 4x1, any sprints. I was good at sprints.
Right.
Actually, I was so good at sprints, I qualified for Olympic trials.
Another good story.
Went to the Olympic trials. I finished ninth, which, the top 8 get into the final race. It was the year Carl Lewis was the fastest man in the world. And I was in the lane next to him. And I was in lane 4. Carl Lewis is in lane 5. And I'm already intimidated. This is the fastest man in the world. So when the gun goes off, I shoot out the blocks. And I'm leading the race by 20 yards, right? By 40 yards, I'm still leading the race. And now I start thinking, I can win this thing. I'm like, 60 meters, I'm fast. Guys ain't going to come back and catch me. So by the time I got to about 65, 70 meters, the pack started gaining on me. By the time I crossed the finish line, Carl Lewis was already in his victory lap. So he had already won the race.
Well, that was the thing about Carl Lewis, though. I mean, he had his 6th year.
Amazing.
And really nobody else had.
Unbelievable, man. He's one of those guys that if you just watch him run, he gets more comfortable the longer the race.
I think you used to say, or you told me before, he could set his shoulders back.
Set his shoulders back. His head would not move, and his arms kept pumping, which we use in football a lot. As a receiver, if you want to run faster, once you get to full speed, it don't make no sense to try to go faster because you're not going to go faster.
Right.
So just relax, pump your arms, and keep running through.
So let me think here. So I think they say you can build speed through 60, and then it's about maintaining.
It's about maintaining.
That
if you
guy
can
maintain
that, that's the guys who run away from folks. I was really good at running away from folks because I knew that because the track coach taught me how to maintain my speed all the way through finishing. And I'm figuring a football field's only 100 yards. Bro.
Right.
If I get a step on anybody, that was going to catch me. I mean, it was going.
Another good story. I love this. It's one of my favorites. So I'm in Mike's office. Okay, I got to tell this one, but it's okay. I'm in Mike's office, and I said, hey, man, so were you faster than number 28? I was like, I couldn't remember. He goes, Darryl Green. And then all of a sudden, he flips the switch on the TV. Up comes a slant pass. He catches a slant. Darryl Green's in his hip pocket, and he outruns it for about 72 yards for a touchdown. And he looked at me and said,
does that answer your question?
And I've seen Darryl run a 40 before.
Darryl
live up in front.
Darryl was the fastest dude in the NFL, for sure. And like I say, the odds are that Fields gonna run out before he catches him. I mean,
Sure.
he's not that much faster that he's gonna be able to make up the speed. And I mean, I think we went 70-something yards or something. No, matter of fact, it was 89 yards touchdown. So I didn't think he'd be able to catch up.
Really got to 89.
Yeah, it's 89 for sure. I didn't think he was going to be able to catch me in that time. So, I mean, the field space would run out.
Well, when you think about it, really in a 40, the difference between a 4.4 and a 4.6 is probably like 2 yards.
Absolutely. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. And it's all in the beginning. It's all in the first 10 to 12 steps.
Right.
I'm telling you, the first 10 to 12 steps, you're gaining your momentum. You should be at full speed. And then you just got to relax and run all the way through. And I tell kids this all the time. Most kids see the 40-yard and they start stopping to run through 40 yards. You run through 40 yards, you shouldn't. Make it 50. Exactly.
So okay, let's jump into the pros. Okay, you get there, you're excited. In fact, you probably got a little bit teased because didn't you, when you were running, you were in the Olympics.
I went to the Olympic trials, so I missed my first week of training camp, which as a rookie, you ain't supposed to miss any training camp. Well, I missed my first week of training camp because I had a really good excuse.
Right.
But, players hate you. They don't care about that. And then I was a seventh round draft pick. It wasn't like I was a first round draft pick holding out or something like that. So I got teased a little bit, but most of the guys understood. And matter of fact, they watched some of the trials, so they saw, what I was doing. So that was cool.
So, all right, so you get in there.
Get into the NFL. Like I said, I was drafted to be a return.
Right.
So my rookie year, I returned kickoffs and punts. All right. Problem was, my second year, we drafted a guy by the name of Deion Sanders.
I know.
Yeah. So
who doesn't?
Deion Sanders comes in. They don't need me to return kickoffs and punts no more. So now I just lost my job. So the good thing is that I learned to play receiver. I learned to be, and the speed helped out a lot. I was able to run away from folks, and so I ended up moving into the starting position at the receiver spot. And started ever since then.
So okay, you went to receiver, and now you played 10 years.
I played 10 years, right?
So, and obviously you had a lot of success because I've seen 1 year you had a 92, a 98. What were the yardages again?
My longest was 98.
Okay.
And the second.
What was the route?
It was a fade route. It was a fade. It should have never happened. No, it should have never happened. It was a fade route. It was cover 2. I got outside the corner. Safety broke flat, and he actually bumped into me before I caught the ball.
Oh wow!
So flag came out. Would have been pass interference anyway, but he bumped into me before I caught the ball. Still caught the ball, and really wasn't nobody behind me.
Once you run out of you run out of safeties.
Run out of safeties at some point. So I had a 90-yard, 89. I had a lot of long touchdowns because I was obviously fast and able to run away from folks. So I made a really good career out of running away from folks. Sounds strange to say it like that, but I made a really good career just running away from folks.
Football players have to learn to use their assets.
Absolutely.
If you're big old, strong and slow, well, you have to beat some people up to get somewhere.
And I tell kids fast. I tell kids all the time, you got to use what you got to get what you want. I mean, that sounds crazy, but you got to use what you got to get what you want. Take your best assets and utilize that to be good on the field, and then work on the things that you're not really good at. And that's the one thing I really had to do. I had to work on those little. I mean, I knew I could run. That was a gift. That was God's gifts. God gifted to me. The rest of the things I had to really work on. So I practiced my craft. I worked on catching balls. I couldn't catch enough balls. I tell kids all the time, you can't catch enough balls. Catch balls. Practice running routes. And the biggest thing is getting in and out of your routes as fast as you can. And if you got the proper weight shift, you'll be able to do that, but you got to work at it.
Constant work at your craft is what's going to take you to get you anywhere.
Any position.
Asking for lightning to strike and just all of a sudden win the lottery and be that first round draft pick or any round draft pick ain't going to work. Okay? Proof of the pudding, get to work, you keep your job, create a new job. Deion Sanders shows up and takes it. Right? But, okay, so also you and I love to talk about knowledge.
Absolutely.
Right? And obviously that's our deal. We got brains with like motherboards on our logo.
Absolutely.
We're all about that. Tell me about
I'll tell you why, because I was fast, but the rest of the tools I didn't have. So I wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest, I was the fastest. So I had to use other tools, which was my brain, to be able to outsmart guys. So I used that to my advantage. I studied. And another thing I tell you that I did, I used to practice for 5 quarters. Even though a game is only 4 quarters, you practice for 5 quarters. So come fourth quarter, guess who's running full speed still and everybody else is tired?
Right.
Because I already was prepared.
Also, what do you do to guys whenever the ball's away, you got man or whatever?
Absolutely. That's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I practiced running routes on guys when I knew that if the cornerback was my responsibility to block, and the ball was going the opposite way, and I knew he had me man-to-man, I'd run a route on him because that gave me an idea of what he was going to do to me when the ball was coming my way. So I already knew what he was going to do to me when the ball was coming my way, so I knew how to beat him.
Smart.
Knew how to beat him.
Always in the game. Focus, not just taking off, coach says run a sim route whenever you're not in, and just take a guy out of the play. You're actually running routes on.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, I knew what everybody's route was. I knew where everybody was going. And I tell you why, because when you're trying to beat a defensive backfield, you need to know where the other guys are, not just the guy that's guarding. Because there's safeties and there's corners, and we in slot. There's 2 corners on your side most of the time, so you got to know what they're doing, so you know what the spots are to get open.
Right. And then we say this all the time. Let me preface it by this because there was something you said a couple years ago, and I had phone calls all the time, coach a wide receiver, and my standard is a pro is going to coach you. I'm going to have a pro coach you. And periodically, though, I would find myself coaching a wide receiver. But I would constantly try to push them to Mike or others because of this. One time he told me, it was when you were in camp. You're in your first couple of weeks. His rookie year, he's in camp. And he was like, he couldn't get off the press. And he was getting frustrated. He's like, I know I'm more athletic. I'm faster. I couldn't, and I guess it was Stacy.
It was Elbert Shelley.
Okay, go ahead.
Elbert Shelley was the defensive back.
Right?
Yeah. And I was on the line of scrimmage. I used to run. I get lined up first. And Elbert come up there, he lined up, and I could not get off the jam. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get off the jam. Now, once I got off the jam, I just outrun it. I knew I could outrun it, but I couldn't get off the jam. So I started thinking about ways to try to beat this guy off the jam.
Right.
So what I thought was when I got up on the line of scrimmage, once they started signal calling, I can't move. He can on the defensive. So he'd come as close as he can, and he'd jam me up. He'd get his hands on me quicker. So I started backing up a few steps, still being on the line of scrimmage, but backing up a few steps. Now I got that separation I need, and now I can make a better move and move. So just taking that little half step, still be on the line of scrimmage if you have to be on the line of scrimmage, and it gives you that separation. Now I can do what I need to do, get his hands off me, and it's easy for me to beat him now. Because I used to threaten guys with speed, and they all knew I had speed, so they had to respect that. But when he knew he could beat me without me getting off the line, he'd come up there and he'd be bold about it. Once I gave myself that space, it got in his head. He started backing off, and didn't have that problem anymore.
So when you're on the line, you don't have to be on the line. I think I heard you say that many times to me.
And the referee, most times, if you're a receiver, you can point at the referee. He'll tell you whether or not you just screwed up. But steal those extra yards, man. I'm telling you, you got so much room to move and get people's hands off because guys will jam you, and if they're stronger than you are, you're out of luck.
And so if I can't give you a pro tip in every corner of it, then I shouldn't be coaching that particular position. That's why I stick at quarterback and give these guys, when a wide receiver comes up, call Mike. So anyway, I want to talk more about, so when you know that we're teaching QBIQ and for a wide receiver, I know that like when you're coming off the line of scrimmage, looking inside, if you've got cover 2, you know you're going to have a backer that sticks. And so are you running first window or second window on curls, or you running void into how aggressively are you trying to get over on a dig? But that inside look, how important, as you get off your stem, how important is that inside look?
It's important. Well, it's important to know what I always tell you, I know what everybody else is doing, where they lining up on defense. When I came out of the huddle, I always had a pre-snap look. Always had a pre-snap look. I'm always looking to see where they are. It's not now. A lot of times
you always have a
pre-snap. There you go, right there. You get that pre-snap look going to where you're supposed to line up. Right. You know where everybody are. Now, I know in the NFL they don't do it a lot in high schools, but in the NFL they disguise coverage. They're not going to stay where they started off. Right. So they're going to move around. But you're still looking around to see where they are. And so I'm watching down the line, quarterback calling out the signals
Right.
in case we got to change any plays. Once he finished that, I go straight to focus about the guy that's on me, and I already know what coverage they're in because I've studied coverage. So knowing who's coming in at me, what linebacker has what flat, so you learn to go around those guys if you have to, or you learn where to get open. And that's what it's all about. It's about getting open. It's about making sure that you're on the same page with the quarterback to start with.
Time-wise.
Right. Exactly.
When you're going to get
Because I want him to be able to throw the ball right when I'm coming out of breaks, right when I'm getting in the slot, so that I can have a better chance of running with it after I catch it.
So one thing I love that you said before, I want my quarterback to know he always throws a good pass.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They keep the balls coming to you.
Quarterback's always my best friend. And he never throws it. Let me tell you something. As a receiver, any ball thrown your direction, no matter how good it is a good ball.
And then
always a good ball. And I tell you what, you make every effort to catch it. And my thing was, I used to always say, if I can touch it, I can catch it.
That, and also, if it ever is about to be the DB's hands, what did you always tell me you made sure was going to happen?
You make sure they don't get it.
It's going to get on the ground at the worst.
You do whatever you got to do to get it on the ground. Quarterbacks hate throwing interceptions. And if he's throwing it to you, that's a bad taste in his mouth. I don't want that bad taste in his mouth. I want him to know every time he throws the ball to me, it's going to either be a good catch, we're going to run with the ball, or something good's going to happen.
Gotcha.
So I always want to make that guy. Quarterback's always my best friend.
This is what quarterbacks want to have at the other on both sides of their line right now. Guys like that with that attitude. I have something to tell you about that I don't know if you know. And guys, we're kind of announcing it prematurely. But we have a potential show coming up. And one of our shows is you and Dion. And we're going to talk about the mental games. First of all, see, he used to go against Deion Sanders every day.
Yes.
So what were Sundays?
Sundays were easy. I practiced. You got to figure like this. I practiced against Deion for 5 years every day.
Right.
So I got the best in practice every day. So when it came to Sundays, that guy across from me ain't as good as Deion. So that made it easier. I know I can beat that guy because I worked all week on the best guy in the league. So Deion helped my career so much. I mean, I was a 7th round draft royalties. I should. I was a 7th round draft pick. I was drafted to be a returner who turned himself into a receiver. So
wait a minute now. I know you're saying that, but this guy was the number one highest paid wide receiver in the league, even though it was for 2 or 3 weeks. He was the highest paid wide receiver in the league. That tells you something. But I think then Tim Brown.
Anthony Miller first, and then Tim Brown. So
okay.
Those guys were in my draft. So all our contracts expired at the same time. I mean, my draft class consists of Sterling Sharp, Michael Irvin, Tim Brown, Anthony Miller, Aaron Cox. That's all the first round. That's the first round guys. Now 3 of those guys are Hall of Famers, and then 1 should be a Hall of Famer. So I was in the draft class, and it was the year of the receiver.
Yeah.
So. I say I was a 7th round draft pick. I was a 16th receiver pick, but when I finished my career, I was in the top 10 of my class. Moving up. And because I worked at it.
And still, though, but if you were to go outside that range and talk about where you landed in terms of numbers, you would be better ratio-wise because that was the year of the receiver.
The year of the receiver, absolutely. And, I was one of those guys that I wanted to be good at what I did. So I worked really hard at it, and I worked on the little things, and I preach this all the time.
Yeah.
It's the little things. You work on those little things. Yeah. By the time you become to a game, it's second nature. You don't have to think about doing it. You just go out and do it.
Hey, I want to bring this last question in, okay? So Deion Sanders, coming back to Deion, you're facing this guy every day. He's getting to know you and all the things that you do. You're getting to know all the things that he does to you, right? What were the head games? Well, how would you try to set it? Because obviously you're not going to just do the same thing every time.
No.
What would you try to do?
When I practice, I tried different things.
Right.
I tried a lot of things. The things that worked, I kept. The things that didn't work, I threw out. So I tried a lot of things in practice. A lot of them were silly things that end up working, and I could use them in the game. A lot of things were like, I should never try that and throw that out. But that's the kind of, and he did the same thing. Deion was one of those guys. He was really super fast. So he let quarterbacks stake their receivers open and then swoop in at the last minute. I don't know if you've ever watched him play.
Of course.
Oh, my God. He swoop in at the last minute and intercept the ball. Well, I tried to do that too. I knew I was faster than most guys, so I give them that edge to think they can run with me. And then once the ball gets in the air, separation goes, and then you run away from it.
You guys, Mike Hayes. If you don't know, because maybe some of you guys are young, go look it up. Look at some film. There's video back then, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it was VHS. So they don't know what that is.
No, I have no clue to say. But the bottom line is, I'm talking one of the greatest at wide receiver. You guys check him out. Look at his videos. And we're doing a lot of cool things together. So I'm really appreciative for our relationship and everything we're doing. And obviously, you got an NFL awesome player here to go check out. And if you're in the area, get Coach Byron. Excuse me. Call him up. All right. Mike, thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. We are going to jump into our classroom. You're more than welcome to hang out. Oh, yeah, by the way, man, hey, everybody gets a shirt.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, check it out.
Offensive Mule, baby. Go. Hey, you guys can pick that up as well in the store. In the store.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. We're going to jump into
hey, Chris, real quick before we get into defensive recognition, make sure you get your Facebook off there. We gave a good shout to those guys for Mike Haynes, but we're going to dive into the class now.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys know to jump back on the class, it's QBIQclass.chrishickson.com. You guys, thanks for hanging in with us, and we'll see you hopefully in the class. Bye-bye. All right, bro. All right, I'll catch up. All right. The key is in my car. It's like, no, I really did find it. Your car. Where's the keys? I'm sitting right outside on the
where
on
is
the grass. It's the car's right there.
I know, but where is it in the car?
Right in the front console. Hey, all right. So I've got Facebook shut. We're ready to go with the class. Are you good over there on your side?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, guys, here we go. We got defensive recognition tonight, and we're going to go as far as we can, and we're going to try to knock this out in 10 minutes because I know that right there, that interview was awesome. Guys, he talked about how hard to work, the small details. There's so many things that he gave to you that you need to understand and put to use. So do it. All right, guys, really quick, I'm going to shut down this right here. All right. And here's the deal. Defensive recognition. What are we going to be looking at? So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling that. Uh-oh. That's what we're listening to. Let me shut that. All right, we should be good to go. All right, chat. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if we're good on that. Is it sharing? That's the question. Am I still on? Everything looks good?
Yeah, you're still at the wide angle right now.
Okay, we may have to go into. Not sure why it's not sharing. So, the problem, we'll just go into it closer. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and zoom it in a little bit. Okay. All right, so if I did that, Coach, what's that look like?
Yeah, you're good on the screen there.
Okay. Let's get to. All right, guys, we're going to go into defensive recognition. And here's what I'm going to talk about today, okay? Defensive recognition is where we've got the important thing to understand is recognizing defenses is where Peyton's crystal ball comes to you, okay? What is it? What are we talking about in defensive recognition? What's it going to do for you? It's going to make you be able to make you have unbelievably fast decisions, audible to the best situation, which you see Peyton do all the time. Create great anticipation that is so rare. Anticipation, guys, is so rare. Everybody knows general stuff to look at, but if you can understand defensive recognition characteristics, traits, small things, well, then that's going to make something special for you. So then you must understand and recognize defenses pre-snap. Understand what you're looking at. So here we go. Guys, pre-snap position keys for cover 2. All right, so I'm going to see if I can zoom in here a little bit closer so that we can really get this on the screen for you. Okay? Know that we don't have our big screen on just yet. All right. I think that's pretty good. Coach, is that pretty readable? Okay, good deal. So what we've got here is our free safety is going to be obviously outside. He's not going to be in the middle. It's going to be outside. His depth is going to be as deep as it comes, up high. It's going to be he's going to be cheated to one half of the field, and his feet are going to be skinny. His feet are going to be skinny. That's important to understand. The strong safety is going to be almost the exact same. He's going to have skinny feet to drop and super deep outside. The field corner and the backside corner are going to be within 5 yards. Okay? That's so that they can collision. They're going to be inside 5 yards, and they're going to be there to be able to collision. They're going to be outside shade so that they can collision inside towards their help, towards their safety. And their feet are going to be wide based with the inside foot back, usually. Okay? Outside base, or they're going to be outside shade, inside 5, and inside foot back. Remember those 3 things. Okay? Now, post-snap confirmation. The safeties are going to drop to their half of the field. Very simple, right? The safeties are going to drop to their half of the field. The corners and both sides of them are not going to drop anywhere. They're aggressive. That's why they had the big base. Safeties had skinny base. They're dropping back. The corners are not going anywhere. They're trying to hit collision, get the receivers off their gallop. Okay? You need to understand that. All right. Cover 2, what this actually looks like. Well, there's the safeties, right? The middle of the field is wide open. Make sense? Well, the free safety and the strong safety looks very similar. Skinny feet. They both got skinny feet to drop. They're both at 12 yards. There we go. We got the field corner and the boundary corner. Outside shade, inside foot back, inside 5. Very simple. They're going to just push the man inside to his help deep, which is his safety. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump to cover 4 because we're sticking with the middle of the field open, guys. And this is going to be the last defense that we cover tonight. Cover 4, pre-snap position keys. The depth is less than cover 2. They're inside 12. They're going to be about 10 to 12. They're going to have a big base. They're going to have an aggressive posture. Why? Because they have to confirm run support. They have to make sure, is it run? Well, if it is, I'm coming up to help. If it's not, I'm back. The corners, their depth is 7 to 9 yards, more of a head of alignment, and on the receiver with skinny feet to drop. And interest, yes, it's in the offense because they could have a post move that they pass off to, and then an out route or a corner route by number 2. And, of course, they have to have their eyes inside for that. So often their base setup, which is skinny feet with inside foot back, would allow them to have vision to that. All right, post-snap position keys. Free safety. He's going to first confirm if it's run or not. So his job is to drop as deep as any receiver, but don't forget he's in run support and can have muddy feet. He might not get there as quick. That's why in cover 4, it is the only time we can hit a post. Well, we do it in cover 0 as well, and cover 6 to the 4 side, but I don't want to get too complicated. The number one place that we get to throw a post is cover 4. All right. Now, that's for both safeties, guys. Now, the field corner and the backside corner, same thing. They are going to drop right away. They have no run support. They got skinny feet. They're dropping right away. They are dropping back, and they're as deep as any receiver in their quarter, their outside quarter. Okay? Now, that's as simple as it gets, guys. It's in your book. It is in your book. Okay? You need to understand that if it's in your book, then you're able to. Let me wheel this out real quick so you guys can see. All right, guys, so just bringing it back into here. You have to understand that this stuff is in your book, okay? And these are key characteristics and traits of what a quarterback needs to be looking at so you can determine the defense. And if you can determine the defense quicker than later, then you're going to know how to play your play to who's going to be open. That means defensive line getting to you will be irrelevant. You'll be able to dish the ball off very quickly, responsibly, without putting the ball at risk, and you get more first downs, you score more touchdowns, you end up winning more games, you go to state deeper in the playoffs and win the game at the state, get a scholarship to college. There's so many different things that are going to happen for you. So my point to you is learn the traits. They're simple. Use the brain mechanic traits from the previous chapter, and obviously learn the individual organizational traits, like looking at everybody together like we just did. Okay, guys? Listen, that's tonight's hey, Coach, did we have any questions from anybody? Cue those up. I see that you're on mute for a sec. When you're ready, let me know. But I want to make sure that everybody's taken care of if they do have questions. If we don't cover them tonight, you can always text us, email us, send it to us via DM or on social media. Do it however. All I can tell you is we're here to help develop your mind and for you to work with the grain of defense. So, guys, get in your book, right? Get in your book. It has every characteristic that you ever want to really understand what the defense is going to do to you. And if you do that and you use that back end of it, how you learn to use RDR versus D, which we're going that way to understand it, but you'll understand very quickly how to play this position like a pro. Guys, work with the grain of defense. Coach, do you have anything for me? I saw you come off mute. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, tell him we'll get back to him, okay? All right, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching in tonight. And don't forget, you can get the other recordings and watch those as well. You need to make sure you keep up with us because the season is coming. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. I think we may have music here. Uh-oh. Hold on. There could be music. Let's see here. Guys, thanks very much for watching in tonight. We're going to go out with hopefully a little lake music. I ain't in no hurry today.